perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. Yeah, you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my hand again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow. I've been caught in the undertow. Toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. I am in misery. Everyone is watching me when I'm coming around. They all are judging me when I'm lying on the ground. I've got no shelter, I've got no escape. My life is a prison and I can't run away. I feel it in my bones, I'm losing it all. Stuck in my head, I am in misery. Deep inside myself, all I get, my only family. Stuck in the grave, can someone rescue me? I'm burning alive, I got it, I am in misery.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Take. No, this is not the Thunderbolts review. That's the right background. There we go. That feels better. You're not. Ashford is not reviewing the Thunderbolts. Although, Ashford, what did you think of the Thunderbolts while we were on it? You haven't seen it. Okay, good. Got it. Moving on. Talking about things
I
that
got
we've all.
spoiled.
Thanks that much. Yeah. We're a couple minutes late. God forbid. It is good to see Bobby here. Hello, we are doing well. We started off the show with the sad news. We haven't had a chance to talk about it. WWE had releases again, as they do every year after WrestleMania. Shayna, Dakota Kai, Braun Strowman, Kaden and Katana, Gigi Dolan, Eddie Thorpe, Javier Bernal, Oro Mensah, Wolfgang, Mark Coffey, Joe Coffey, Cora Jade, Riley Osborne, Danny Palmer, Jakara Jackson. Hoy, that's a lot. Again, Shayna, Dakota won't have any issues finding work anywhere they want to go. Braun Strowman will do Braun Strowman things in Braun Strowman places. I don't think Braun Strowman is going to be like professional wrestling going forward, so I don't think it's a Braun Strowman being a Braun Strowman wrestler kind of thing. Kaden, Katana, if they want to work, I'm sure they're going to find a place. I think that they could potentially land in TNA, as Lord knows TNA could use some female tag teams. I mean, so could WWE, but apparently they have enough. We're going to focus mostly on the NXT names. So we've got Jakara Jackson. We'll start there. That seems to be the most surprising to me, is we just had the metaphor farewell last week, and we now know why Lash is going on her own. So question asked, question answered. We asked NXT to explain why Jakara was going off on her own, and and she's going off to new places. Hello, Hulk. Thank you for joining us. Yes, you are finally catching us live. We great. Vanna White. Always nice to see Vanna here. Probably not the real one, but still nice to see Vanna White here. I mean, listen, we don't want to sit here and be like, yes, Cora was all of them were surprising. Cora, Eddie, both seemingly in storylines to do things. Jakara seemingly having a singles push coming. Gigi, poor Tatum Paxley. This woman was the kiss of death for this round of releases and non-renewals, because on top of all the releases, Shotzi was informed that her contract will not be re-signed when her contract expires. So that means the only remaining member of Chemical X is Tatum Paxley. And her husband, Javier Bernal, was also released. So beyond all the wrestlers, also our well wishes go to Tatum Paxley for trying to deal with this. She did in one swoop what Robert Stone has done for a lifetime of women. And now Alicia Fox is on that list of people who Robert Stone is going to eventually get released. Because Robert Stone is now working with Alicia Fox, or Victoria Crawford, I believe, is the new TNA name for her.
I mean, her real name. Yeah.
I think so. It might be. Again, we don't want releases suck. It's shocking to have them say, "Hey, look, we had a record WrestleMania weekend. By the way, here are your walking papers." But I think the one thing we forget is, yes, WWE had record profits for a particular weekend that they ran. There are hundreds of millions of other accounting things that they need to do. And on top of it, as a publicly traded company, they need to keep the books as balanced as possible. So, corporate side, I get it. As somebody who works with people in corporate America, this is something I understand. It just sucks for all these really talented individuals, because I think a lot of them had some upside. There's a few that I won't miss on my television screen, I'll be honest. But that doesn't mean I don't want them to have a job. Just because I don't want to watch them on TV doesn't mean I don't want them employed. And that's the big thing. I hope that they find success doing something, whether going back to the Indies, whether it means going back to England, whether it means going to Japan, because there's a few names on this list that I could see going back to Japan for a fun run. There's a lot of talented people here. The Indies just got a ton of great talent. Astrid, what do you think about, especially the women released on this list?
Yeah, I think that's one key factor for this time around. A lot of women involved in this one, which is very surprising as well, especially coming from NXT, when we know this is the brand with the strongest women's division in WWE so far. So I see some of these names, just like you said, thinking of like a Cora, that was very surprising because she was somebody that was used very often on Jakara as well. That was also very surprising to see. Riley, if the way that he's coming about it, like it looks like he was injured. So that's another one that it's disappointing to see, like he didn't even get cleared to come back and they just released him like that. His wife was also released not too long ago as well. So that's another one that I can imagine that sucks for both of them too. Yeah, it's like, and seeing like Eddie was somebody that was being used. And even we mentioned from the beginning that Carl Fredericks is not being used the way he should have been used in NXT and the way we hoped he was used since he was signed. And he was getting used a little bit more consistently now, but even still, I feel like we didn't see his full potential in NXT the way we were hoping we would see him. Oro Mensah is one that kept growing on me with Metaphor and the girls recently, so that was another one that was very sad to see. I mean, my main Javi, that was one that I teared up when I saw that one. I was not expecting that. That one really hurt. Yeah, and just seeing like Chemical X, just thinking, like they were just in a tag team like championship match, like 2 weeks ago at this point, and they were doing so well. I just don't understand how that happens. And these reports about like, oh, it's because of their age and this and that. It's like most of these people are still super young, so that doesn't make any sense. And none of what's coming out makes sense as to like the reason why this is happening. But yeah, very disappointed with the people they selected for this to happen.
Yeah, and again, I said this on something. I'm going to imagine it was probably on the Thunderbolts review. I said it somewhere verbally, and I don't know where it was. The best way to support the talents of the talented people who were released, if they're streamers, go to their streams, drop them a sub. I've already been to Javier Bernal's stream. I dropped him a subscription. Go to their PWT store. Go to their big cartel stores once they start having them up and operating. Go buy a t-shirt. As soon as they start doing indie shows in your area, go and support the indie companies who are there. While you're there, if they don't have a big cartel or something, buy a t-shirt. Go buy a photo opportunity. These are the ways that you can support these talents right now, as they go. Because people like Shayna, people like Dakota, people like Carl Fredericks, people like Javier Bernal, all four of them I know for certainty do streaming.
Yeah.
So you can go on Twitch and you can go ahead and give them a follow, give them a subscribe. When they go live, go ahead and drop them a sub if you can. Those are the types of things that you can be like, look, we love you, we support you. These are the easy ways to do it. And like I said, a lot of this doesn't cost a whole hell of a lot. If you have the free income, that's a way that you can go ahead and support these talents now that they've been released. All these NXT names, 30 days, they're going to be free and clear. You're going to start seeing them popping up places. For the main roster names, we know that day is, I believe, August 1st, I believe, is the day that they get to go.
Probably.
From what I understand. I've seen August 1st floating out a whole bunch. So I'm assuming that that's probably right around the time of that free. No matter what, releases suck, no matter how often they happen. But, the one good thing about releases, and it's not about people losing their job, it means it's a step up of opportunity. There are now places to be filled by new, young, or different talent to go ahead and step up. Every time somebody gets moved up or somebody gets released, it's an opportunity for somebody else to become the next big thing. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that here because we had a pretty damn good NXT night coming off the releases. It started with them doing the introduction to Who's Here with Zach Wentz surprising us that he was going to be in the Battle Royal tonight as he walks past Wesley and gives him the rascal sign. So Zach Wentz is in the Battle Royal. Goody. And just loved seeing that. We do have Logan saying, I saw a little bit of that Stardom Giulia shine through in her NXT match. Yeah, I think we all figured that when she's working with Jordynne Grace, she's got the ability and the green light to go a little bit. Jordynne did drop her on her head, though, so that was rough. We'll talk about the main event in just a bit. We're going to start with the opening match, which the introductions made me puke, as I saw Hank Tank and Joe Hendry do the Joe Hendry pose. Ew. On so many levels, ew. I hated it. Thankfully, Dark State defeated Joe Hendry and Hank and Tank. When Trick Williams ran off Joe Hendry to the back, and Dark State went ahead and did their jumping power bomb to Tank, I believe it was, right? Tank was the one who got pinned tonight. I think it's great that Tank got pinned because Tank was the guy who got the most shine in this match of anybody, really. I mean, Joe Hendry had a lot of fun spots, but I think Tank was the one who got all the stuff that I saw that I remember. That, cannonball dive to the outside. He had the spot where he yelled that Shake One Sugars and then jumped back in the ring and did. Tank is growing on me. Hank, still a little. I don't like the whole belly busters as a big guy. You'd think I'd be into this Hank Tank thing, but no, not into that Hank Tank thing. Still not into it, but again, Dark State wins by default. We're not making Dark State feel like a big deal when every time they win, it's by default because somebody else does something stupid. I really, really want Dark State to just win something because Dark State's good. What do you think?
I get where you're coming from. Is that Again, one thing I'm disappointed with this particular group is that there's no storytelling for them. There's no background to them still. All we got is a freaking PowerPoint the family read to us not too long ago, and that's all we got from them. It's like, I think by now they should have given us more of like almost like a reason why they got formed, to how they started off and how they got together. Give us something, a substance in the story, and we don't have anything. I feel like that's the main reason whether I don't know if I should cheer or boo them. Just because I'm like, just because they look like heels, I don't necessarily want to boo them. I want to know what's the story behind this before I really react to it. And right now I don't feel like there's any. And like the way they're winning is also not helping. And it's like, so we're gonna go from Hank and Tank to giving the tag team championships to Dark State, because that's another thing that made me think about them winning this match as well. So I was like, that is going to be very interesting in that aspect of it. Like I said, because at least with Hank and Tech, we do have that storyline of them getting that, words of wisdom from previous tag teams. So you get that they have some kind of story of them rising to the top and being at the top of the tag division. But still with Dark Star, you don't have anything like that. Like, we don't know why they're here, how they started, how they connected, why they decided to go with each other and not somebody else, for example. And I feel like they really need that to like give us some kind of interest, to like how you have them grow on me if you don't tell me what they're here for.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I will never hate on Osiris Griffin, but the rest of the group, take it or leave it. It is what it is. But no, I think you're right, hitting the nail right on the head there. We don't know anything about this group. We know that they want chaos. Why? Mm-hmm. Why do you want chaos? Why are you destroying NXT? What's your mindset? Reader man, talk to me. Explain it to me like you're in a dark romance novel. I don't care. Just do something. Like, come on. He definitely reads the dark romances. That's the books he was always reading. Same kind of stuff you read.
Hey.
What?
What is that supposed to mean?
That you read dark romance novels.
Not always.
You're like, no, I don't always read dark romance.
Sometimes.
Beach.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Dark State going forward. We have Karmen Petrovic talking to Thea Hale backstage. And I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those nights. I'm so happy. And Thea's like, no, you got to go on your own. You can do this. You got to be solo. And she's like, yeah, I left Ashanti, not only because I was sick of Ashanti, but because I want to do this on my own and get wins. And I feel like Ashanti was holding me back. And I'm like, no, honey, Ashanti was not holding you back. I mean, on camera, he might have been holding you back, but I don't know whose Cheerios you pissed in, but you pissed in somebody's Cheerios because you were headed all the way up and then... And then Jaida walks in and she starts running them both down, and I'm just like, I'm gonna hate the next few weeks of this crap, aren't I? And we got Jaida versus Karmen later in the night. Goody.
Why?
The first fun thing we had of the night was the Candy Crew promo talking about opportunity. I really like this. Mostly I really like this because it gave me an opportunity to write in my notes something that did happen later on. Because I wrote, Charlie talks about how this is opportunity for the Candy Crew. How this is an opportunity for one of them to face Obafemi. What he really means is this is an opportunity for me to face Obafemi. Now, I intended that to mean that he was going to win the Battle Royal. Because I was like, all right, it's still an outlier, but like Charlie Dempsey makes some sense to potentially be like an NXT championship challenger. I'm like, I love Tavion Heights, but he doesn't make a lot of sense. I understand the internet's talking about this Myles Borne, this baby Randy motherfucker, but like, he really doesn't make a lot of sense for winning this world championship opportunity. So like, it's Charlie Dempsey. And I was 50% right. I was 50% right on that. And we'll get to the rest of that later.
No, it was 33.5 chance that you had.
No, I had a 33 1/3 chance of being right. Well, no, I probably had 141 and 2/3 chance of being right, but it's only when I talk to Braun Breaker and get him to help me with the math.
Yeah.
You know, he's hard to get a hold of nowadays. He's very busy with this
I
Seth
wonder why.
Rollins guy. He's really making it hard for me to get a hold of Braun Breaker. If you don't understand the joke about me and Braun Breaker, it's from another time, another place, and another company, where I decided that Braun Breaker was the foundation of one of my brands. Talk about that another time. Anyways, something else we could talk about. And actually, to talk about this loads. Zaria takes on and defeats Kelani Jordynne. What you got?
This is not how I thought it was gonna go, to be honest. Based on the interaction from last week, I thought it was gonna be more of, you see it this way, of Kelani wants a title match. See, let's say they give you that vibe that she almost tricked Soul into doing it, and then Zaria blocked it. So when you see this match happening, I'm thinking, oh, they're gonna find a way for Kelani to win this somehow, even though Zaria should be the one to win it. So in my mind, it's like they're gonna find a way for Kelani to win it, and it's gonna be Kelani versus Soul at Battleground. That was on my whole mindset. And then going into is, but I love the storytelling that Zaria has been doing, because if anybody has noticed it, whenever she's around Soul, she's looking at the title somehow. If Soul is raising the title, she'll glance up at the title. If Soul has it around her waist, you see Zaria looking down at her waist. She'll find some subtle ways to like stare. So if you do look up any clips where like every time that she's with Soul, that she's always like looking at that championship, like that's her focus. And I like how commentary draws it at the same time, because they say, oh, it's not that she was kind of like blocking Kelani from doing this, because she wants a title match for herself, and that's what she's gonna beat Kelani. And I was like, I like the way that they brought it up as well later on. But again, I thought this is Kalani's match. They were gonna give it to Kelani first, and then wait a little bit longer for Zaria. That was my whole mindset, just waiting a little bit more, and then Zaria wins. But I did love that spear and the barricade. I love how Soul was holding on to Kelani for that moment, which Kelani looked confused about the way she was holding on to her. And then Avizar and Zaria does the spear through the barricade. That would like looked amazing, by the way. And then her winning at the end, I still was kind of surprised, because because I didn't think like Zaria was gonna lose like clean, but because I thought they were gonna extend the storyline a little bit longer. So I wonder now if they're gonna tell us, oh, she won, and this was technically like a one contenders match, and she's gonna get the title shot now, which will be interesting to see moving forward. You're muted.
I know. It was
Okay.
No, I really like a lot of this. I have a lot of similar thoughts to you. I love the idea of Zaria chasing this championship without Soul knowing. I love the idea that Soul's blinded by friendship to the point where she can't see that her best friend is going to become her biggest enemy. I don't think it's Battleground. I think this continues to roll, where Zaria continues to step up and defend Soul night in and night out against all of these different challengers, until Zaria's like, Soul, I've beaten all these people. When do I get the shot after proving all these people aren't worthy for your championship?
Oh, that's gonna break me. And a lot of people.
It's going to break you. It's going to break poor Millie, who's not here tonight because she's modding over on Allison K's stream. So I know she's not here, but when she watches this back, yeah, the breakup of Ruca is going to break poor Millie's heart.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was great, though. I love this match. I thought that the two of them worked well together. We've talked so many times, because Zaria keeps facing Lash Legend, about how her moveset feels so clunky. And I've told you, we've both said over and over again, that as soon as she gets to work with some of these smaller girls who make up 90% of this women's division, it's going to be fine. Tonight was the proof. It's going to be fine. Zaria looked fantastic throwing Kelani around. Kalani's jumping and flying, and Zaria's catching her. It was great. That F5 looked fantastic. The spear through the barricade looked great. Soul selling it like $1 million, just kind of staring off into the distance like, what the hell just happened? Everything was great about this. I absolutely loved it. It was sensational. And yeah, Zaria gets the win, which I was a bit surprised, like you. I did think that they were going to have Kelani win it just so that Kelani could have the match at Battleground. But it seems that might not be a title on the line at Battleground at this point, because we now have a few matches made for Battleground, and we'll go over the Battleground card at the end of the night. But yeah, no, I thought this was a great match. It was a great women's match, and it got time. You know? We've had so many times where we keep talking about how these women's matches don't get time. And granted, normally that's when Karmen Petrovic is in the match. Guess what? That trend continued later tonight.
Oh my gosh.
We get Tony backstage, and Wes and the Budget Street Profits go toe-to-toe backstage on the microphone. Well, the Budget Street Profits don't say nothing, but, you know, Wesley and Tony D'Angelo go back and forth talking about Stacks, talking about Zach Wentz, talking about how Tony's not in the Battle Royal. Surprisingly, Tony not in the Battle Royal tonight. I would have thought that would have been an opportunity to do something with Stacks, to get Stacks to do like a run-in to beat down Tony or something, but, you know, they didn't do it. Then Trick Williams comes to the ring for the Battle Royal, and I'm like, this is earlier than I expected. I thought this was going to be the main event.
No.
I didn't think we'd main event with the women. As good as a match that was going to be, and as much as they would deserve it, I'd understand a Battle Royal with 25 people taking precedent over naming a number one contender. It's not a championship match, so either match can really main event. And a Battle Royal feels like something you end the night with. But we didn't. But
Yeah, that's so surprising.
But we don't get the Battle Royal right away, because when we come back from commercial break, we get Lola Vice sucking up to Stephanie Vaquer. She then, after sucking up to Stephanie, tells Stephanie that no matter what happens coming out of Battleground, she's going to be there waiting for her.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, that's it. Nobody wants to see that.
Oh, I know one person who wants to see it.
No.
Yes. My Marvel Talk tag team partner definitely wants to see it.
Mm-mm.
We do come back from the commercial break now with the rest of the Battle Royal, with the only other entrance that we get is indeed the entrance of all shitty Ethan Page. I mean, ego Ethan Page. Sorry. I do have the order of elimination. There might be one or two off, depending on how NXT views when the legs went down for a couple of these double eliminations.
Mhm.
But in order, we have Island, King, Dempsey, Baylor, Adonis, Smokes, Tyson, Thatcher, Vance, Hill, Tyreek, Jensen, Heights, Briggs, Wentz, Wesley, Inamura, Ridge Holland, Trick Williams, Elijah, Shawn Legacy, Javon Evans, Ethan Page, and Shawn Spears were eliminated at the very end, leaving the last man standing, Myles Borne. Well then, that was a surprise. Now, again, let me reiterate, I love Myles Borne. I think he's sensational. I don't think he should have won this Battle Royal. Oba feels more like he's making main eventers than he is actually wrestling main eventers. Like, he's made Javon Evans like a full-time main event level star. He's about to make Myles Borne feel like a main event level star. I would have been happy with any of the final four winning this Battle Royal, to be honest with you. Like, I love that Myles won. It's great. But had Ethan won, fine. I'd have understood. I wouldn't have loved it as much, but I would have understood. About Myles, Randy must be proud. Yes, Papa Randy is indeed proud. Think about that. Papa and son, within the balance of a couple of weeks, are both going to have championship opportunities. Randy has one this Saturday. His son, Myles Borne, gets one at Battleground. Speaking of Battleground, we got a fun post show for Battleground. And Astra didn't book it. I did. The book one. But no, Shawn Spears, Javon Evans, Ethan Page, all would have made a ton of sense. All would have been good matches. I really think the story of having Shawn Spears be the one to challenge him would have been interesting, especially with the short time frame, and especially how that went with the Cullen group, with Vance eliminating himself, basically eliminating himself, taking the bullet for Shawn Spears at one point in the match, with Jensen literally eliminating himself as he eliminated Tyreek, to make sure that Shawn Spears continues to go further. Like, I really, really enjoyed the storytelling of a lot of these things in this Battle Royal. There was a lot of real good stories told. There was a lot of fun and interesting stuff. We got the Briggs and Imamura breakup. We got the story of the No Quarter Catch crew. We had Shiloh Hill being a star in this for a while. But yes, the biggest story other than Myles Borne being fantastic in this for me is Shawn Legacy. Super Shawn Legacy, one of the WWE ID talents, making it to the Final Five and getting a real big showcase in this match. I mean, he looked incredible. And if you haven't seen, like Get the Table saying he hasn't seen much of him, I've gotten to see glimpses of him a couple times here in the Northeast. He wrestled JT Dunn the first time I saw him, so I knew the match was going to be good. But Shawn Legacy, I've been going back and watching what matches I can see, is absolutely sensational. What you see is what you get. He's everything that he was tonight is exactly what he is night in and night out in the ring. I like that they showcased these guys without making it feel like they were just hanging around. Like they didn't feel out of place at the points in the Battle Royal where they were eliminated. The elimination of Trick Williams makes a bunch of sense, with Joe Hendry causing the distraction so that Elijah can get in there. By the way, isn't it great that we saw Elias's other brother Elijah tonight? I mean, the crowd was a bit confused. They kept saying walk with Elias. It's not, guys, it wasn't Elias, it was his brother. This is Elias and Ezekiel's brother Elijah. He's not the same, he's different. It's not like that El Grande Americano douchebag who's just Chad Gable with a mask on. It's not the same, guys. It's not the same. This is another Sami Zayn El Generico thing. It's not like that douchebag El Grande Americano. It's different. No, Kevin Owens would not be furious. This is his third brother. Kevin Owens has got no reason to be upset. No reason to be. I mean, I think I hate Ethan essentially purely out of spite for this one. I really think the only reason why I hate Ethan Page is just to spite Astrid.
I know. Trust me, I pick up on his DG.
What did you think of Battle Royale?
One thing that I like about NXT doing Battle Royals, though, even though we always joke around because it is that way, it's that when you don't have a solution, you don't know what route to go. That's what they pick. But at the same time, when they do them, I like the fact that, like what you mentioned, that not only do they do like mini storylines here within the match in itself, but sometimes even through the eliminations, we get storylines coming out of that later on as well. And they have done that for the men and the women. So that's what I think is always interesting when they do a battle royal, because even the people that lose end up being involved in a storyline somehow. And they, it starts rooting from that battle royal in itself. Like you said, I like that we have Niko here sacrificing himself for Shawn Spears. Shawn's like lasted up until the end as well for this. People like Trick and Javon get eliminated. To me, that made sense too, because especially the last couple of months, we don't want a repeat of what happened already. So I was expecting them to lose somehow in here as well. So that's one of the ones that in my mind I'm like, you're out of my list for the winner here. But one thing when I saw that graphic is the fact that I looked at it and I said I wouldn't be able to pick from the graphic who could win the match. And I like how unpredictable that was, because usually you can kind of see the lineup and you're like, Ethan's going to win it because Ethan has been in the main event scene like this. Or you can say, oh, Trick has been winning, so Trick is going to win. But it's interesting seeing so many names there and so many people to get an opportunity to shine, like you said, like Shawn did there as well. But I like the fact that I wouldn't be able to pick a winner. And I'm glad that was very unpredictable in this match. Myles, like we said, one that's unpredictable too. Never thought about getting Myles versus Obafemi whatsoever, so that's very surprising there as well. But I feel like it was a fun match. I did, like you said, I liked the fact that Joe Hendry came up Trick cost him this match earlier, so he's gonna do the same to him as well. And I like that paper that we got there and how they're gonna get the contract signing next week as per Ava as well from everything that's happening there too. Yeah, it's like I enjoy this so much. I feel like I could have, like you said, I could have gone with anybody that was in the final, like 4 or 5 at that point. But I feel like either way, it would have been fun to see. It's interesting moving forward to see Myles getting involved in the main event like this, especially when you see Charlie coming out and clapping like outside of the ring versus you get Tavion and Brent Sinclair inside the ring. So that storyline's going to be very interesting moving forward, the whole group there. But I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, this was a banger. And like you said, this is NXT's formula. Yes, we don't exactly have a plan for our championship, so let's do a battle royal. But the battle royals are always interesting. They're always telling a story somehow throughout it. And one of the stories that I thought was really great told throughout this, there were 2. Wesley and Zach Wentz constantly going at each other, even though a couple times they worked together. Javon Evans and Ethan Page accidentally working together a couple times was really fun too. And then the Imamura Josh Briggs storyline. Mm-hmm. I know that we're getting rid of Imamura kind of quickly and unceremoniously, just kind of having him go. But I love that we got this little bit of a story here so that when we get to the later on portion, it makes a little bit more sense. I really think they did a really good job kind of going through A to Z with these guys, making sure that a lot of these different talents got the time to shine. And a TNA guy made it all the way to the final 6. So you had a TNA guy in the final 6. You had a WWE ID talent in the final 5. So check on getting your, partnerships in there. Hill, while he didn't make it as far to the end, he had a couple big moments at least with a couple big eliminations. So at least he had that. He may not have teeth, but at least he had some moments. God, that man's smile annoys the fuck out of me. I don't understand. If he knows how to make veneers for $15, why doesn't he just wear them on television?
Right? I was wondering that too.
Yeah, Randy is indeed happy for his son. We already talked about how happy father are. They both have championship opportunities within a month. We get a Jordynne Grace promo where Jordynne Grace feels like one of the midgets in, or one of the little people in the Wizard of Oz. One of the little. Tell me that's not what it looked like. Jordynne Grace is like down here, like Astrid is in all the Olay pictures from Canada, and then Lash Legend and Izzy are like way up here.
Jordan's a little bit taller than me. Not
like I said, Jordynne Grace was like Astrid in all those photos in Canada for Olay weekend when she went up there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what was said in this promo because just kept looking and going, God, Izzy is really tall in this promo. How big are her heels? And then Lash walks in and I'm like, well, no, that makes sense. She was a WNBA player. She's supposed to be tall. But my God, as Millie said, why was the choice here to make Jordynne Grace like the tiniest little motherfucker on the plate?
But isn't it ironic though, because
Guild?
her being the juggernaut and being the way she is and her build and everything, she doesn't look small. But then you see her next to all these girls and you're like, oh. I was like, that's interesting. It's like I met her, so I know how tall she is, but not everybody has been next to her. So it's interesting seeing everybody's reactions online. Be like, why? She's that short. Yes, she is. I can confirm. But
I knew she was short, but I didn't realize how short.
Yes. But and not only that, but it shows you how in her character, the way she the way she draws herself to all of us, she feels taller because of the way she is and and how she wrestles. She feels taller than what she is, and you see her now and all these people, and I went, and this is why she was wearing those heels that one time that looked like Patrick when she came out. She's small like me. But yeah, what happened here was that they're asking her about if she will win the title, and then she looked at both Izzy and Lash and basically said, it was like, when I win the title, then you guys could be in line, and I'll see you on the other side, kind of thing. But they were just, and Lash being the birthday girl, she's like, well, you're talking about powerful people, that I'm here. But yeah, it's it was bittersweet seeing Lash in there and not seeing Jakara next to her.
Yeah, that was weird. Happy birthday to Lash, by the way. It was Lash, and who else was it that had a birthday today?
Dakota, ironically.
Oh, yeah. A less happy birthday for Dakota. Unfortunately. Jaida versus Karmen Petrovic had a start. It had an end, and Jaida won. And then Jaida hypnoticed Thea Hale after she was attacking Karmen when Thea came out. And apparently next week we're probably going to get Jaida versus Thea. Great.
I'm frustrated with this. What is happening with Karmen? What are they doing to my girl? Like, she was fine. And all of a sudden we get 2 matches in a row almost, and they're both a couple, like, not even 5 minutes probably, it feels like. Why? I need answers. This is not helping. You can take me off now.
I thought you were going to go on a rant, so I was going to give you the big
No, but I need answers. I just don't understand what's happening here.
I'm telling you, she pissed in somebody's Cheerios.
Why? And then not only that, but she got a jobber entrance too, because once Jaida started coming out and the commercial came out, I went, oh no, Karmen's entrance is gonna be a drink commercial, isn't it?
I mean, technically it wasn't a jobber entrance because Netflix saw it, but yeah, it was a jobber entrance. Actually, no, we got a full commercial break. It was a jobber entrance because we went to a full commercial break during that.
She was already in the ring when we came back, so.
Yeah, she was in the ring when we came back too. Now that I think of it. We have Ava backstage talking to Joe Hendry, and she makes Hendry versus Trick at Battleground for the TNA Championship. The first time the TNA World Championship will be defended at an NXT show.
Yeah.
Oh boy. We'll talk more about that at the end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Wesley's on the phone. Now, this was a really cool little mix of 2 or 3 segments here. So Wesley's on the phone with apparently Stax. He says the match is set. He took the bait. Everything's good. And he goes, man, that Stax guy can talk. And then him and the Wish.com Street Profits walk away. And we have Imamura and Briggs, and Imamura's walking away, and Briggs is like, Imamura. And he's like, I know what you're going to say. And he's like, no, you don't know what to say. He's like, yes, I know what you're going to say. We lost again tonight because of me. You know, you could have had an opportunity. I eliminated you. I've been doing that a lot lately. You know what? I'm just going to go back to Japan. Cue sad Hulk music. My tear falls. My poor, sweet Imamura going back to Japan. Back to Noah. He gives back the cut to Briggs. And then who should come walking up but the Cullen? And Brooks Jensen says, look, I've seen this story before. Briggs, and it's funny because he's saying that Briggs is saying Imamura was the problem. Briggs said nothing. He got Imamura. And then Imamura took on the entire rest of the conversation. At no point has Josh Briggs ever, as far as I can remember, on camera, actually blamed Imamura for anything that's happened to them. Like, I don't think I've seen any .com stuff where he goes that Imamura is at fault. I don't think I've seen any of that. So it boggles my mind that we're telling this story that Briggs is like blaming all his tag team partners. Hell, he didn't even blame Briggs when they broke up. He just wanted to go solo. The storyline is coming out of fucking nowhere. But it was a great promo by Briggs here, just this little douchey promo where he's like, maybe you're the problem, Josh. Have you ever thought about that? And Niko laughs, and Izzy goes, think about it. Like, I loved the promo. I thought both of these things were really well done. The Imamura going back to Noah. It's sad, but I get it, and it's good for him. He had a fun time here. For one last time for Mel, before I delete it from the archives, we need one last squee for Carl Fredericks.
Not the same anymore. There you go.
And delete it. Bye-bye. No, I thought this was a really good promo. Like, other than the storyline that they're telling out of nowhere, I thought this was really, really good. I don't want to see Briggs versus Brooks. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind seeing Briggs run through the entire culling on the way to a North American championship, because I still think Shawn Spears should get a rematch for that at some point.
Yeah.
But no, I thought this was a well done backstage promo. Any thoughts?
No, I mean, you said everything.
Well, while I said everything there, why don't you go ahead and talk about the Candy Cruise celebration?
I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. Just the storytelling is going to be very interesting with Charlie's reaction to Myles winning here. Everybody's celebrating but him. So, yeah, it's very interesting to see the little one grow up with Charlie Dempsey in this storyline coming up. But I like it. I'm excited for it just to see, because I like Charlie having that spotlight. He's one of those people. I'm surprised he hasn't gone a spotlight like this. So I'm glad that hopefully that will catapult him a little bit more to be involved in the main event scene.
What I was trying to get Ashley to talk about was the backstage promo, where we had the entire Candy Crew backstage, and Myles is very happy, and they're all happy for Myles. And Charlie's like, all right, we need to get back to work. I need to prepare for my championship match. And Myles says, I know I'm hard of hearing, but I thought I won the Battle Royal.
Did you?
I was like, well, yes, you did win the Battle Royal. And now the Candy Crew has the championship match, and I should be the one to take it. So that, I can stretch that meathead out, and I can, get him in. And then all of a sudden, Obafemi comes walking up. And he's like, congratulations, Myles. I wasn't expecting you in a million years, but good for you. Great job on winning. And normally this is the kind of like heel champion who's like, ha ha, easy day. Whoa, I win. Oba feels like he's really like genuine here, where he's like, good job. I didn't know it'd be you. Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe they didn't tell him who was winning and they just kind of left it so he could get this honest, cool promo from Oba.
Maybe.
And then Myles is like, and then Charlie's like, no, it's going to be me that you face at Battleground. And Oba's like, but didn't he win the Battle Royal? And Myles is like, yeah, no, it's going to be me. Don't you worry. Charlie's just talking shit. It's going to be me. And speaking of Charlie talking shit, did you know he was talking about, stretching you out? And Charlie's like, no, I wasn't saying any of that. And Charlie gets talked into a match by Myles. So now it's going to be next week, Obafemi versus Charlie Dempsey. Oh, poor Charlie. He gonna get thrown around like a rag doll. Poor little Regal. What goes around comes around, though. Is Charlie Dempsey gonna cost Myles the NXT championship?
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it happened.
Can you imagine at Battleground in Tampa? You're not far from Tampa, so imagine you were there. I know you're not going because for some reason you chose not to go, but it's right there. You chose. You're there, front and center, front row, and Baby Randy goes ahead and hits that RKO, and he crawls over and he drops one arm over Obafemi, and you get 1, 2, and then he gets ripped out of the ring, and it's Charlie Dempsey saying, no, you can't win. This is my moment. I'm supposed to win. The heel turn from Charlie Dempsey. He starts working with his dad. And we get that great heel Charlie Dempsey back, which, by the way, I've kind of missed. Like, I like fun, happy-go-lucky Charlie with Ren Sinclair. That was cute. But, like, I want douchebag Charlie Dempsey back. I just want him back. He's so much more fun. He's so much more interesting to play off of. And I think that if you're going to push Myles, you need to separate him from Charlie Dempsey. Not necessarily separate him from the Candy Crew, but separate him from Charlie, if nothing else.
Yep. And this one, too, I know a lot of, I want to say, like, second and third generation stars, they want to separate themselves from their parents. But at the same time, seeing, like, Charlie working with William Regal on screen will be so interesting to see. Because obviously it's kind of like The Rock and Ava. It's like they tell us without telling us that they're family. So it's like that would have been something interesting to see, of like a William Regal almost being like a talker for Charlie at the same time. And I feel like that I wouldn't mind seeing that, but I get also him trying to like break out on his own as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the worst kept secret in all of professional wrestling. It's at the Lowell tapings for the NXT show that I went to in December. When they went to commercial break during the rounds of one of the Heritage Cup match between Lexis King and Charlie Dempsey, the crowd was chanting, "He's your daddy, he's your daddy," because William Regal was out there with Lexis King.
Okay.
For that match. Like I said, I think while I didn't want Myles versus Oba right away, I don't think it's good for Oba. I think it's great for Myles. But it's also very predictable. Like there's no way in hell Myles Borne is the NXT champion coming out of Battleground. None. Zero. There is not, nobody can make me. There's no scenario where I'm going to buy that Myles Borne defeats Oba Femi. I'm sorry. I just won't do it. We have a Chase U segment where the boys get Andre Chase to try to switch up his look. And now Andre Chase is apparently going to be coming to the ring in tracksuits. I'll be honest, I love the old look. I'm a vintage guy, so I like the old look. But I don't hate the tracksuit look. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
I've just started dressing in a black tracksuit now that I've had my surgery and lost a little bit of weight. So I have like a black version of that tracksuit that I really enjoy. So I understand the comfort level that Andre Chase is feeling in this new attire. But so I've realized there's a bad thing about these Chase U segments. I only know the names of one of these two jabronis. I only ever remember Uriah Connors. I still, if you ask me right now to name both of them, I couldn't, under hide nor hair, give you a first or a last name for the second one.
No? No clue?
I thought he called him Hale, and I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense. That's not his name.
No, it's Kale
what
Dixon.
Is his name? I don't know.
Yeah, Kale Dixon.
Oh, Kale, not Hale. Okay. Yeah. I honestly wrote in my notes. I wrote Uriah Connors 3 times, and I put Uriah Connors and friend. I'm like, no, that's not necessary. The boys. I basically made them the Brent twins because, dad mode. Like the super comfort level dad mode about just being in a tracksuit. Like you don't understand. I live in comfort level with worst vegetable to be named after Kale. I will not have this slander on Kale. Kale is fantastic. I haven't made it yet because I can't have the potatoes yet. But I make this fantastic Zuppa Toscana knockoff at home, where I make the Olive Garden Zuppa Toscana, which is kale, sausage, and potatoes. It's a cream-based soup. It's fantastic. I adore making it. I love the taste, but I can't have the potatoes right now, so I can't make the soup. But I will not have this Kale slander. I mean, Kale Dixon is an idiot, but I mean, this might as well just be a Uriah Connors vehicle here, just to make Uriah Connors the greatness. No, bad mouth. Bad mouth.
I dig up the vegetable every time I see his name, though. That doesn't help.
Also, thank you for joining us, Mel. I really do appreciate it. We have missed you.
We miss your face.
Yes. Cal L. No. Timu Superman is whatever dumb shit James Gunn is doing with that idiot. I don't even know what his name is, but that budget Superman that they've got going on now that comes out this summer. I have zero desire to see that movie. Like, Andre's like, we got to review it on Marvel Talk. And I'm like, do I have to? Because I really don't want to. Well, I mean, we've done DC movies in the past. We did The Flash. I think we did another DC movie, too. Like, it's comic talk. We do Marvel Talk because we don't really cover DC because DC don't normally do anything worth covering, to be honest with you. Yeah. But, you know, I have zero desire to see this new James Gunn Batman, Superman thing. I've seen the things. It's not good.
Now I can't unsee it. I want to think of Kala every time I see his name now.
Put a big S on Cal's chest. And then we had the main event. Jordynne Grace defeats Giulia in about what felt like 10, 15 minutes. It felt like it got a lot of time. It might not have. It did feel big. It felt great. Jordynne Grace damn near killed Giulia at one point. That was a rough spot in that match. And then to add a little bit of kicking somebody when they're down, she then did a standing delayed vertical suplex where you just hear Giulia going, "Ow!" And I'm like, "Oh, this is bad. We really shouldn't be doing this, and I shouldn't be laughing." But my God, was that funny?
Yeah, that scream, it didn't sound like Giulia. And at first I was listening to it, was like, who the heck is screaming like this?
Yeah,
It
and then
didn't
I realized
sound like
it's
that was
Giulia.
at first. I thought it was a fan of the crowd just randomly screaming at first.
I love the anime DC movies. The animated DCEU is absolutely sensational. Honestly, they make movies probably better than half the Marvel movies too. Period. Like DC animated stuff is really, really, really good. And again, if you want to listen to me talk more Marvel, we do have a Thunderbolts review that just came out on Sunday that you can go ahead and check back on the YouTube channel. You can go ahead and see that. We also announced that we have. Oh, you know what? I'll do it when I do the plugs in just a little bit. Jordynne Grace wins the match. She's going to challenge Stephanie Vaquer at Battleground. It'll be better. Like this is the match I wanted. This sends Giulia to the main roster permanently with Roxanne. Now the two of them can go up there and be on the main roster and not have to do double duty. They don't have to come back and forth. They can just stay up front on Raw. Thank you. We appreciate it. Me and Andre put a lot of work into Marvel Talk, which is now Peggy's show, and we are just guests on the show. Peggy allowed us to host the show. So
That sounds about right.
yeah, but then again, I keep seeing this. It's like this is the most Stardom match. WWE isn't Stardom. Like, we don't do strong style here. If you want any evidence of that, look at Shinsuke Nakamura's entire main roster career. We don't do strong style in WWE. We just don't. It doesn't. You can't work on the road as many days as these talents work on the road and do Japanese strong style at the same time. Those two things don't mesh. When The Miz did that promo with Daniel Bryan on Talking Smack, and he talked about how The Miz wrestles, and Daniel Bryan says, you know, if I wrestled how you wrestled, you know, I wouldn't have to worry about being injured either. And Miz says rightfully, well, it's because of the fact that I wrestle the way I wrestle that I'm a two-time, that I'm a world champion, that I'm the longest reigning Intercontinental champion, you know, in years at this point, that he was making the Intercontinental title relevant. That it's because of the fact that he wrestles the WWE style as opposed to Daniel Bryan, who constantly tries to wrestle the way he used to wrestle on the indies, that's why he can be the main event level player that he was. That he can always be in contention for a championship, and he could always be this. That's the same thing you're getting here. Giulia, as fantastic as she is, if she doesn't, and she's done a very good job of adapting the Stardom style to look good while doing a WWE style match. And occasionally, when you get the right talent, you can go ahead and have a Stardom level match. When Giulia eventually takes on Io Sky, they're going to have a Stardom style match. When Giulia gets to have another one-on-one match with Rhea Ripley, they're going to go Stardom style. You're going to be able to do that with some of these talents, but you can't go Stardom style with, you know, Tiffany Stratton. You sure as hell can't go Stardom style with Jade Cargill. Like, you've got to pick and choose these battles and these matches and do them the right way. And it's because of that this match is so great, yes. But you can continue to have her be a pseudo babyface on NXT and a heel on Raw. You can do the two things simultaneously as long as you really don't change the way the character is. Now, that's a really good question. So why do they hire people for what they're doing and then tell them not to wrestle that way? It's not that they don't want them to wrestle that way. It's that they want them to wrestle something in the middle. They didn't ask Stephanie Vaquer. They didn't ask Giulia to not wrestle like they're in Stardom. They asked them to adapt that to a way that you can do it 3 to 4 nights a week in NXT, 3 or 4 nights a week on the road for the main roster, to be able to go week in and week out on, during the main roster stuff. Like, they don't ask you to not wrestle like Stardom. They just want you to adapt it so that you can do it night in and night out for 200 days a year for 15 years in a row without potentially hurting yourself, as long as something bad happens. And like I said, if you want proof positive of that, look at The Miz. The Miz wrestles a relatively entertaining match every time he's in the ring. Is he the greatest professional wrestler in the world? No. But whether he wins or whether he loses, he wrestles a fun match that we all watch. And at the end of the day, we go, oh, okay, Miz was pretty good in that. Moving on. And that's why The Miz is a WWE Hall of Famer on his first ballot, on his first attempt. As soon as they want to make him a Hall of Famer, I think The Miz is a Hall of Famer. Yes, I'm a bit of a Miz fanboy. I don't know if you'll understand this. I think very highly of The Miz. You know who else thinks very highly of The Miz? Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green says she must be the female Miz. If you haven't caught that interview, go ahead and catch her thing with, I believe it's Chris Van Vliet, was who she was doing that with, if I remember correctly. And like, there we go. It's like, and like I said, I'm not saying that just wrestling the WWE style will prevent injuries. It won't. Plenty of people get hurt doing the WWE style. I'm just saying, if you wrestle the WWE style, you're more likely to not get injured. You're more likely to have a sustained career. Look at Shinsuke. He's had a very long career. He hasn't done anything. Like, he won a Royal Rumble, but that's about it. He was a U.S. champion a couple times. But at the end of the day, he's made a lot of money, and he hasn't really had any substantial matches since leaving NXT. Why? Because he stopped that style. Yeah, Hideo Itami is a... We don't talk about Kenta. Kenta's a bad example for anything. That man could get injured opening a jar of pickles.
Jeez.
Like I said, I'm not saying WWE style is safe. I'm just saying that if you do the WWE style, you're more likely to have a career like The Miz than you are to have a career like Daniel Bryan. Start and stop, some injuries, things like that. And again, this isn't to say that the Stardom style is bad. The Stardom style is very good for what they do. But that style also doesn't always translate to the main roster WWE fan base. And that's the biggest reason to go back to this question of, why do they hire people and then ask about to wrestle that way? Because 60% of the casual fans who are watching WWE product on a week-in, week-out basis don't know what Stardom is and don't want to see strong style. They want to see the thing that they've seen for the last 30 years. And that's the sad, true answer to that.
Uh-huh.
And now that I've made everybody sad, ask tell the good people where they can find me.
You can find me, hopefully this week there'll be a review, hopefully, of the movie Queen of the Ring on my channel. More on that later on, depending on how it goes with the planning.
I gotta get a thumbnail for that done, don't I?
What?
I gotta make a thumbnail for that stuff, don't I?
Yes, you do, please.
Okay.
You can find me again here on Tuesday, again with this one taking over here on the road to Battleground. But yeah, you can find me on my Twitter, Blue Skies, Astro Pizarro. My Instagram and Threads is Astro Pizarro 20. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do as well. Now we're on the 300 subs and going up from there. Yay!
I'm going to announce it now because we've kind of confirmed it, so I'm going to go with it until we hear otherwise. Battleground post show is going to be the besties taking over. It's a crossover event, everybody. We're very excited for this one. We're not sure exactly how it's going to work, if it's going to broadcast on all of our channels, how it's going to work. But Amanda Savage and DC Hendricks of the Tuesday Night Besties of Bodyslam.net are going to be joining me and Asher. We've had them both on separately. I'm very excited to have both of them on together as we all get to talk about NXT Battleground. It's going to be a fun show. We do have now 3 matches confirmed. We have Myles Borne versus Obafemi. We have Joe Hendry versus Trick Williams. And we have Jordynne Grace taking on Stephanie Vaquer. So, fantastic Battleground shows already in the making. I believe we're pretty much also cleared with the pre-show, but we're going to wait a little bit on that one just to make sure we can fully confirm that one. But we do have confirmation for the Bout show, so I'm going to go ahead and announce it and then feel sad if something bad happens. You can also catch me on Twitter and Blue Skies at EdFries12584. You can find me on the Twitch at twitch.tv/EdFries2002. Like I said, we just had a Marvel Talk Sunday where me and Andre talked about all things Thunderbolts asterisks. We're not going to spoil the asterisks like Marvel Studios is doing all over the place now. Bad Marvel Studios. Why would you do that? I don't understand your marketing campaign. But also, fantastic movie. Short story, if you haven't seen it, please go see it. It's really good. It deals with mental health in a very interesting and fantastic way. It's a wonderfully told story with some fun jokes that makes it feel reminiscent to the early days of Marvel. It is very close to, if not in my top 10 Marvel movies of all time. I thoroughly enjoyed Thunderbolts. It was back to form for Marvel in my mind. You can also catch me and Andre between now and July. We have a bunch of shows. Starting in 2 weeks on the 14th, we are going to be doing our MCU rebounds again. We're going to be back to doing MCU rebounds. So that first one will be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And we're hoping to get enough in to get to the Black Panther one. We are also going to be doing, in the meantime, those are going to be every 2 weeks. As those wrap up, we are going to be going ahead and doing the Ironheart reviews every week. And then after that, we were going to have the review of Fantastic Four coming out at the end of July. So that is the Marvel Talk calendar for the next month, 2 months and a half, 2 months. We're very excited for that. We love doing the rebounds, so they're very exciting. No, Giulia and Roxanne will not be joining Finn Balor. I do not see that coming. Just because Roxanne was talking to Finn Balor does not mean that she's joining some Finn Balor faction. But yeah, make sure that you're following our local establishment for all the updates on anything like this. And you can find our local establishment at Ole Podcast on almost all your social media. Capital O, capital L, capital E, capital P, and then Oddcasts. You can go ahead and catch us all there. You can catch us at our local establishment on both Twitch and YouTube, where you see these wonderful videos. If you're watching on Twitch and YouTube, leave a comment. Tell us what you think of Myles Borne winning. Tell us what you think about Giulia losing tonight. Tell us what you think about strong style and whether or not WWE style is a better style than strong style. Tell us all those kinds of things in the comments down below. Not right now in the chat, just in the comments of the video on YouTube. On the YouTube video in the comment section, go ahead and leave that. And Bobby or myself will be in there to go ahead and respond to you when we do. Make sure while you're there, go ahead and give the video a like. Go ahead and subscribe to Asher's YouTube channel. Leave it a like there. Tell Asher she's doing a great job on her YouTube comments. She's fantastic. But yeah, you can find us all there. We might have a Backlash post show this week, but for everything else that we definitely have, we're going to go ahead and play the video as we go out of here. After the video plays, we're going to go ahead and raid Allison K. So have a great night. Goodbye.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. Run my own way to get there. Fools are calling and the eyes seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. Tell me the storm is coming.